So now that we've gotten to the end of the videos, this is week 10-2, part 4. And really all we're going to do is I'm going to show you kind of a finished product and then how you can tie that in or sync that to your design. I'll also show you real quickly how you can get some real quick image files if you want to use those in like a PowerPoint presentation or something like that of your design. And so let me go ahead. This is going to be rather quick, but let me show you how this is done. So here's my finished design. You can kind of look at how I had it set up and things like that. And pretty regular, not a lot of bells and whistles going on. We have, I've added in residential roads. I've added in my major arteries, my collector roads, and things like that, and tied them all in. And then I also added in my design. And so my different parcel types. And so if you look at this, if I pan back, now I have a nice little visual example tied into the satellite photos and everything else of this area in relation to other roads and everything like that. So one of the first things that we can do is we can actually show off these, or if we wanted to have something for presentation files, we can actually come in and kind of create those. And so that's real easy. If you go under display and you're looking for like how to show these things off, what you'll find is that in the design there is no like render button per se, and render is a term we use whenever we're trying to do our 3D stuff and all that. So what we're going to do is something slightly different. We're going to go ahead and it kind of saves out these files the way we want them. So if I like this, like if this is the image I like, if I like the way it's zoomed in or whatever, then I can come in and create basically a JPEG of this from that design. So what we're going to do is all that's going to be under this tab, the Present tab. And what we're looking for is this on the side, the Present. You'll see these things are called storyboards. We'll actually get into those later. They're pretty cool. What we want here right now is just a snapshot. And so if we select it, it's really basic. It asks you what you want to save it. It says where you're going to save it, and then how you want to use. So if I want to use the viewport resolution of this, I can give it a name, hit save, and it just saves out that image. And so I can come in here if I want to have one that's kind of looking across my property, maybe like this, and kind of down closer to the level of the ground. I can kind of place that like so. Come in here, create snapshot, and then I have my snapshot view of that. So kind of a basic way of setting up this design, but real easy way to make images. And the advantage is, like if you try to cut and paste or screen capture this, you're still going to have part of the UI there. That just saves it out without the UI. So a little useful thing in your design. So the last portion is going to be syncing your file. And so this is going to be where we're going to come in. We're going to go ahead and sync our file, and I'll show you where all that is in just a moment. So to sync our file, the basic definition of this is actually taking your file and putting a kind of a snapshot of the entire file into like BIM 360. And by snapshot, I'm not talking like an individual JPEG. I'm talking it kind of is a moment in time in your design that you're uploading to like BIM 360 or whatever. And so right here, the sync button looks kind of like a recycle tab. It's got a circle with arrows. That's the one that we're going to click. When we do, the first thing you have to understand is this is when you do this, you do this. It's going to be on there. You can't sync and then come back and say, oh, I want to save it in another location. This program doesn't like that really. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure you pick the right position in the first place. And so if you come over here and you click the sync button, it's going to come up with this publish model. And the first thing it needs to know is where it needs to be. Well, in our case, it's going to be on BIM 360. So we would have to navigate through our whole folder set, so our team, class assignment, or whatever, and we'd click on that, and that would be our folder. The next thing would be, the next step is, what do you want to upload? Every single one, the two things that have to be uploaded is the master and common resources. No other proposals need to be uploaded. So if you want to bring a proposal up, in which case we created two of them, we want to come in and we want to check the boxes of the proposals we want to upload. Once we do, we come in and hit publish, and it's going to take a while, but it's going to basically take the information, it kind of zips it up and then pushes it up to the BIM 360. From then on, there will be a copy at that point in BIM 360. You can go back on your computer, you can change all sorts of things or whatever, and create new proposals and everything else, but any new stuff is on your computer. The way you bring it back up is you will click the sync button again. Now, when you update a file by syncing, it's not going to ask you the publish location and all, because it already has it. It's going to come in and ask what you want to add back in, and you can check the boxes and all that in your design. So let me show you that in Infraworks. So I'm going to go sync this file. So I'll come up here, and in 2021, the icon's here. If you're actually in version 2020, it'd be on the left. The other thing is, don't get distracted by the BIM 360. That's actually something different. We're going to go ahead and click the little sync button, and it's going to come up and it's going to ask where you want to load it. Now, I have multiple different projects going, so mine takes a little bit more in my example, but let's come in and I'll pick a folder, and then it'll ask you project files, which is yes, that's what you want to do. So I'm just clicking the little arrow head by the thing. Then you would come pick your team. I'll just pick this one because no one's there. And then you would pick a location, either the base folder or like class assignments or homework or something like that, whatever you want for the first one. Once you pick it, then you'll come in and you will say what you want to upload. So right now it's just uploading the master and the common resources. If I want to load any of these proposals that I've done, I've got to check those boxes, and then I'll come in and I'll hit publish. And that's it. That's how you sync a file. If you want to come back to it, you'll come in and click this again, and it will come up, and it won't ask you the location, but it'll ask you what you want to either update if you change one of the current proposals from the original that's on BIM 360, or it's going to ask you if you want to, instead of updating, if you want to add in a brand new proposal that it doesn't have on BIM 360. And then you can kind of keep it up to date that way. So that's how you can bring in that file and all that and use it in your design, and then sync it up to your design, which is what we're actually going to ask you to do in your class 10 assignment. So that's how we're going to bring that information in. So in conclusion, using the tools in Civil 3D and Infraworks, we can take the information that's stored in metadata like the parcels or whatever, or GIS information, and apply it visually to our design. And we can do that by using rules. We can create specific styles to accommodate it and things like that. So we came in, we brought in our parcels as coverage areas. We went over and set the styles based on rules that associated to single family, small, retail, school, etc. We used the style rules to automatically assign the colors. And then we went over and we created some component roads based on roads that are designed in our areas, like residentials and arteries and things like that. And we added those to our design. And so you can use existing roads, you can create your own or whatever in your design. Finally, we went in and kind of showed a quick way to get some presentation pictures out of our design. We're actually going to get into more detail on how to get animations and all out of our design as we move on through the semester. So hopefully this gives you kind of a good idea. We're going to do an exercise on this on week 10-2, and then that assignment is going to come up on can also be added into later on, be added into our homework 5 or homework 6. Sorry. So understand that we're now tying these together and kind of stepping out the process as we go for this style design. So when we come into class, we're going to kind of step through this and use some of the resources to do this design or the design on your own property using these methods.